Welcome back to the With Love Loniesha podcast. Today's guest is a licensed clinical therapist, a member of the Delta Sigma Theta sorority, and founder of Pink for the City, which is a community-based health organization focused on educating African American women under the age of 40 about breast health. Her name is Nicole Logan. Be sure to check out her information in the description below. Before we get started, be sure to like the video, subscribe, and then at the end, if you found it helpful and useful, please share it with someone else and leave us a comment. All right, let's get into the video. Let's just start with this basic question of what's on your mind?
Home ownership, adjusting to that. There are some transitions at work and I'm balancing that. Just life. So like it hit me recently. It's like, hey girl, you about to be 36. I was like, I am. And it's just reflecting on, so where are you right now? Like, you know, we set a list of goals for ourselves. We do that all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes we get sucked into putting things on a timetable. And I've actually kicked the timetable. Like now I've been like, oh, I'm listen, here's a list. We're going to figure out what this looks like. Can I beat whatever timetable I may have had previously? Sure. But if not, it's still cool. So those three things I've kind of been juggling along with other responsibilities. But those have been the things kind of on my mind lately.
So home ownership, life, work transitions, all things that I feel like typically people are going through at this age, right? And so congratulations on the home ownership.
Thank you.
That's number one. So you set that goal and you achieved that. Transition been from not owning to owning.
I will say it's actually been pretty okay. So like prior to owning, we were staying with family because we wanted to save so that we could have the money for the deposit and we could come to the table, no issues.
Mm-hmm.
So staying with family was really a sacrifice of like our comfortability, right? So in our previous home, we could navigate that a little bit different. In someone else's home, you can't do the same shit. So I'm sorry, you can't do the same stuff. It feels good being back in our space, but getting up and realizing, so this isn't an apartment, this is actually a home.
Mm-hmm.
And all the things, like it didn't really hit me until I had to put the bills in my name, or I had to order the recycling bin, a mailbox, and I was just like, oh, okay. Not oh, okay, like, oh God, it was like, ooh, okay, yeah, mine, ours, yeah. So it's been interesting. We're still getting adjusted, and it's stuff that we want to do, but honestly, that transition has been like none other. Seriously.
What do you think? So living with somebody else is challenging, right? So what do you think was the biggest takeaways from sacrificing your comfortability to that helped you achieve the goal of buying a home?
It made both of us lock down. Be always grateful for our parents being there to support us, but also realizing the way that we operate our home may be a little bit different than them. So it just really made us like, okay, all right, now this is the time frame that we have. What are you trying to do with this? And it made us realize, like, you are in someone else's home, but don't get too comfortable. You have another destination. This is just a pit stop, but y'all have another destination, because this isn't our final home either. Like, we were like, this is our first home, cool, we're gonna do something years down the road, but this is a great way for us to start. So like, just going from the family home back to, or going to our own home, it's been that, you know, you're in someone else's space, and so there's certain things that you have to be extremely mindful of. But yeah.
Do you think you took anything away from being there that you're going to bring to your new home?
Yes. My mom has decided that she wants to have landscaping in front of her home. She wants to buy her home. And seeing her excitement made me feel like when you have your home, those are things that you can absolutely be excited about. It doesn't have to be routine. It can be something that invokes emotion from you, right? It's something that can really get you excited for what's to come. Yeah, that was one of the things, because she didn't have a dishwasher, and I was like, my God, today I need a dishwasher. Ooh, baby. Dishwasher, like pronto. That was one of the biggest things, like just seeing her excitement from, I'm going to do all this in front of the house and in the back of the house. And I was like, we actually can do that now. We can do that in our own home.
Your home is going to be like your canvas.
Mm-hmm.
Just taking the time to decorate and show your personality throughout the house. And also, like, one of the things I get excited about when I think about home ownership is traditions. Mm-hmm. And just being able to create a space that's comfortable for myself and the people that come into that space.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We've already been asked, like, when are you guys having a housewarming? And with full transparency, I'm like, we'll have something, but it's one of those things where it's like, it's not a rush, because we need to make our home feel like our home. So when people come in, what they are seeing is a reflection of us, of how we have turned this into our space of comfort.
Tell me about like what that victory was after going, like how did it feel after going through all the challenges and sacrificing and actually being able to walk into your home? Like, what was that feeling like?
I will tell you, the first victory was getting the phone call Sunday morning at, I think it was like 8 something in the morning, and having my realtor say, your offer's been accepted. That was like the first one. And I woke him up out of his sleep, poor baby. But it was like, ooh, okay. But walking in, so our parents actually didn't know. They found out after we closed, and we were like, hey, meet us at this address. That's how they found out.
Nice.
Some are still not happy about it, but I'm like, having the final walkthrough before we went to closing was kind of like, oh, this is real. Like, you guys have been counting down to this date, but like, this is real. When you leave there, your name's, your name's going to be attached to this home. This is your home. And I told my therapist, I said, I can finally unpack all my boxes. He was like, ha! I said, I don't feel like I have to brace myself to like, and I was like, I started telling her like some of the stuff I'm excited to do. And she was just like, yep. I said, yeah. This is going to probably heal some part of me down the road. But yeah.
Two things that came up when I was listening to you. One thing is, when you said unpack your boxes, I felt that on a whole other level, like figuratively and physically. Some things you have to put down and pack away until you are in a space safe enough to start allowing those things and finding room for those things and sifting through those things. That's something that I was talking to somebody else about recently, and how you don't realize how much you have packed away and how things start coming out of the corners under cobwebs, like when you least expect it. And the other thing was you keeping y'all goal and process to yourself. That's another thing that's been coming up that I've been hearing about just in passing, or like hearing videos, or just people talking about keeping what you have going on close to you until it's solid and sealed. The deal is sealed. And I wonder what is it about keeping stuff tight that makes it work out?
I think you have to be careful who you share your dreams and your desires with. Everybody is not rooting for you. Now, I can't say that for our families. I can honestly say our families were in our corner because our parents knew what the goal was. They just didn't know our timeline, and we didn't really share it. I think when you keep some things to your heart, you prevent yourself from hearing other people. Now, I'm one of those people. Well, yeah, we both are. We're very much, I'm gonna do what I want to do. Good luck. But I'm also at times, depending on what is being said, sometimes I can get a little uneasy. So it was just very important for us to keep that close because, if anything would have happened, somebody mentioned something and then you just kind of like, nah, it didn't happen. It didn't happen, not yet. And they're like, oh, and it's like, baby, don't give me that sympathy. I get real touchy-feely when things happen, correct? When women or people who have children are pregnant. And you know how they say that first trimester, you really have to be careful with who you say because it is such a critical time, right? It's it can be touch and go, right? And the heartbreak if you tell people, oh, I'm pregnant, and then God forbid something happens and then they're inquiring about it down the road and that trauma. So for me, it was until we hit this, it's okay for us to keep it to ourselves. It's okay for us to be excited for the process. Journey that only him and I are going to walk right now. And I just think, and it depends on who you have around you. Some people share their goals or share their dreams, and then you have people saying, well, I don't know how that's going to happen. I don't, that doesn't make sense to me. Why you do. And when you hear that, for some people, it can make them feel unsure about themselves. It can lead to feeling like, am I doing this wrong? Like, am I bugging? We didn't even talk about it. It was just like, until it's a done deal, we gonna keep y'all at bay. We need to be able to feel whatever we're going to feel as we are going through this process. But I do think for some people, when you hear the outside noise from others, it can deter you. It can make you feel like your dream is something that is out of reach. Your desire is something that is out of reach. And sometimes it's just nobody has done it yet. And so they can't wrap their brain around why that's going to work for you and maybe not for them.
I say this all the time. Your vision is yours and yours alone, and people aren't going to understand because it's not theirs. And sometimes you are just tasked with that to show somebody that this is possible to do. And that sometimes does become heavy, especially when you feel like, I can't talk to anybody about this, What are some of the things that you do when you are in those situations, when you want to talk? And this is outside of the home ownership, but like when you want to talk, but you don't feel like you have a person that is safe enough to have the conversation with.
I talk to God. It went from a conversation in my head to me speaking out loud, like literally sitting in the car. I had a situation at work and I was like, okay, so look, I'm tired. But I've also been blessed with some people who have been in situations where they are the first to do something or they're doing something that's unique. And so because I watched their journey, they are my safe space. Like one of my best friends, and we've known each other since we were 14. Over half of our life, more than that. And just seeing her navigate space while she was starting her nonprofit, I know I can talk to her about whatever I got going on with mine because she'll understand. And I think those have been the things that have kind of helped. Like for the moments when I just couldn't talk to people, I talked to God. Talk to the creator, like have a really honest conversation. Like, I am struggling. And I think sometimes when we don't say what we feel, or we're not really honest, like, so how can they help you? How can creator help you and you're not being honest about what's happening? They already know. Like, they already know. But also sometimes you saying it out loud, it's like, okay, they're serious about what they got going on.
Yeah, that awareness just brings a certain type of clarity that you can't get from somebody else. But and as you're saying what the problem is, you almost always find your solution just listening to what you're saying. I found myself recording my conversations to God, just because, especially when I really just don't have the answer. I record my conversation. I will be in the car and I'll be riding through town like I'm on the phone with somebody. And then I'll listen back to what I'm saying and I'm like, oh, I'm hearing it with different ears. Like, I'm on the other side of the conversation, right? So like, I'm listening to my friend vent, but then me hearing it back is, I can tell you now what you're actually concerned about. I can tell you now what the actual problem is, and then from there, I can start putting in the system to get out of that space. But it's really just that communication part.
Yep.
Timelines earlier. You said I'm about to be 36, and I can relate to that because I'm about to be 36. Set these big goals with these specific markers. It gets disappointing when you haven't reached, a certain point, right? But who's to say when's the right time? So what's some of the things that you feel like, okay, maybe I could have achieved this by now?
I think more so like on a career side, I know what I want my career to be. I know what I want to do. I know how I want to pour into the beautiful people of my city. But I think the steps I took kind of a long way to get where I'm going now. And I just thought, like, career wise, I would be in a certain role by like 30. I wasn't really being realistic, and I wasn't being considerate of everything else I had going on. Of course, kids, marriage, all that good stuff. Cool. And having having some other things occurring with my nonprofit, I thought that I would have certain things done by now. But again, what is a timeline? Like, why do you have a timeline? There are some things where it's like, okay, now, child, like college, right? Get out. There's some people who take a little bit longer. God bless. Me, that was not an option. No. But with everything else, it's kind of like, you can add a couple of years, maybe take a couple off. Get there. But I think those were the main things where it was like, I was expecting to have certain things by 35 or 36. Well, by 35. 36 is around the corner, so who knows what's going to happen. But yeah, by 35, I thought I would have some of those things happening.
What do you think about the idea of surrendering? Like, what does that mean to you?
Surrender to me means being vulnerable, being okay with the unknown, being okay with allowing, God, or however you claim the higher being, allowing them to guide you. Surrendering your plans, what you thought was, that might not be where you need to be. That might not be the purpose that you were created and brought on this earth.
How do you surrender?
You surrender when you're okay with something, with disappointment. When something didn't go the way that you expected. And you're saying, but God, I trust you. This is hard, but I trust you. Stepping back and saying, okay, so this didn't go the way that I thought it was going to go. But there's something in this that I am supposed to get right now. What is this that I am supposed to grasp or understand?
Surrendering can be hard. It's hard even when you don't have a choice. It's even more hard when you have people depending on you to do the thing and get the thing done. So like now, it just adds an extra layer of weight on it. That disappointment and not being able to follow through, and then like really just owning that. And hey, thought this was gonna happen. It didn't. And then the hardest part is believing that it has to be because something better is there for me, or
you have to psych yourself out. If you don't, you will lose control. You will feel like, so what is the point of all of this? You literally have to psych yourself out and say, I know there's something better. Life is ebbs and flows. I tell my therapy clients that all the time. Life full of ebbs and flows. We're gonna have our ups, we're gonna have our downs. But you still have to show up. Like, you still have to believe there's something else on the other side, even when it feels like, child, what is this? There's something else.
You're from a generation where you sweep stuff under the rug. As an adult and going through therapy and taking a different approach with my children, where I live out loud. You know what's happening, and I really feel like I'm doing that to prepare them in the future. So if you see, pay attention to what's going on, right? So if you see this happening and you see where this goes from watching me, you can make a different decision, or you can make the same decision. You know, depending on how you felt the outcome of that decision was. But they only are going to have that choice if I allow them to see what the world is right now.
Absolutely.
You know, and I get a lot of backlash because of that. But, you know, it is what it is. We talked about this already. Like, everybody's not going to understand the vision. My goal is to not continue to repeat the same things over and over again, right? So the only way to do that is to do something different.
I think parents, I always give space to, like, my mom's generation. I think my mom's technically a boomer. Yeah, she's a boomer. Because they were raised to be seen and not heard. So recently, within like the past year or so, she's been saying, you know, I found my voice. And like, she's the youngest, I am the youngest. So it's just so interesting seeing the youngest older, and you're like, all right. Oh, she's like, I didn't like this, and and I'm like, and you can sense that it's a weight lifted off of her, because she doesn't have to subject herself to something just because of how she may have been raised. I think the millennial parents, boy, whew, y'all are making some headway. Because I always think about it. My mother was honest about things when I was younger. I didn't really grasp it until I started to get older. But now as an adult and looking back on some of the decisions that she may have made, her and my dad may have made, I'm like, I understand. And so I can either make the same decision, like you said, or I can do something else. But I think the transparency is what helps us see our parents as human. I've with quite a few new moms, or moms where the children have disabilities, or I call them superpowers. They talk about how being honest and saying I'm overwhelmed, it scares them to say that. They feel like they're going to be judged. I was like, you are still a human being. Yeah, you're overwhelmed. Some days you don't feel like it. Okay, it's like, it's okay to name it, because when you pretend that it doesn't exist, you're not doing anything to help yourself, but also you are setting an example for your children. If you have poor boundaries, guess what's going to happen?
The baby's gonna have poor boundaries.
Or they're going to get so fed up that they don't want to deal with anybody connected to that because it's frustration. But when you're honest with them and you are showing them that you're human, that helps. This girl was talking about how her mom never cried in front of her. My mom didn't cry. So when she would cry, she felt like she was weak, not realizing her mother would leave the room and go cry. So you don't see the humanity of your parents because all you see is this. You see a stoic face. Very, that it's a shortcut conversation with you, but you don't see them when they're up and you don't see them when they're down. And when you see them when they're down, that gives you the tools so you can navigate the world a lot better. If you never seen them be disappointed, you are going to fall apart when you are disappointed because you don't know and you don't have the tools to say, I am disappointed, but I'm going to get right back up. Because I watched my mama and my daddy do it.
Yeah. I was having a conversation with someone about allowing your children to feel rejection.
Oh, yeah.
And letting them navigate it themselves. Because what your coping mechanism is not going to be, it may not be, what your kids is. And me having a child in middle school, is taking it to a whole, like, just really having to respect her process. And me wanting to be like, okay, I know I didn't have anybody coming to check to see, how I was feeling and wanting to jump in and just fix it for her. But she doesn't want that. And I really, really had to learn how to pull back so she doesn't shut me out. And sometimes, she'll figure it out and she'll go through her mood and she'll be fine in an hour, a couple hours, maybe a day or two, but I try to make every opportunity for her to have somebody that she's comfortable to talk with. Whether, if it's not me, that's cool. She know how I get down about my kids. So sometimes I might be the last person she wants to tell because I'm going to do too much.
Mommy going right out at dawn and I don't need that right now. This is real quick. I don't need her trying to come up.
I have to remember that these are children. Right. So what you going to do, girl? Go sit down somewhere and let her figure that out. And she figures it out. And even in those moments, I'm like, you know what? I might not be doing that bad of a job, girl. But in other moments when I really, really feel like she's struggling, sometimes I gotta pry, and then I just, hey, you got your therapist, you got all your aunties, you know what I'm saying? You got to talk to somebody. It don't have to be me. I get it. And some things you just don't want your mom to know. I get it. I know me. You know what I'm saying? I know me. But middle school, like her navigating that, and she's getting through it like a champ, but I know that it's always, something going on, and kids are ruthless. And that age, oh my goodness.
Woo! I think about it because I'm talking to someone about like middle school, and I said, boy, first of all, your hormones. So everybody is starting puberty. The girls starting their cycle, the boys starting to smell themselves. So now everybody lost their minds. And then you get to the point where you're like, and now they're trying to build relationships with their peers, right? So you got the dating piece, you got the friendship piece, y'all dealing with hormones, you don't know what's happening to your body. You growing, the girls' boobs are growing, the boys getting taller, and you just like, what? Whoo, this is the perfect storm, right? Woo, middle school is like that. That's that middle ground. Once you get to high school, cool, you still navigating, but middle school is where you start to see that change. I do commend you for helping her to be confident. I think when parents allow their children to try to like problem solve and stuff, that's helping them build confidence, because then they won't second guess and they won't be like, well, I don't know. I mean, there will be times, right? We're just human, but feel like I can't do this because I don't trust my word, or I don't trust my decision. So I commend the parents who let their children try to navigate a little bit, and they're there in their corner like, listen, I'm here, but this is your journey. So what does this look like for you?
One conversation can be so healing when you're talking to the right person.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And sometimes things have to fall apart in order to get you to the right person. So what's next for you?
Getting comfortable.
Okay.
Digging heels in, grounding myself. Things have been happening today, and I'm like, to God be the glory. Things have been happening, and I'm like, this is all working out, isn't it?
Yeah. Absolutely.
What's next is to ground myself, get my little toesies in the grass, and really be settled. I focus so much on like what's next, and one of my friends called me out about it when I had when I finally passed my exam to be a licensed clinical social worker. I was talking about something else, and she was like, you didn't even celebrate that. What's doing? And I looked at her, and I was about to say some words. I was about to be like, girl, listen. And I stopped and said, oh, baby, no, you didn't. She was like, you don't even sit enough to celebrate yourself. Child snatched my wig. So
okay, you clock about little teeth.
I was like, oh God. She said, you ain't, even when I graduated from Morgan, she said, you ain't sitting enough. You don't even get to sit with what you've done. I had to unpack that in therapy. But just spending some time really sitting and being present. I am so like future focused, but I have to be present. I feel like you can do two things at the same time. You can be present, okay, cool, got that goal, but I need to be here. And this house is actually making me be present. Like every day I get up, I'm like, oh, thank you, Lord. I get to get up in my own home. Like, what are we talking about? Pulling up to the house. Thank you, Lord. I get to be at, like, it's a constant reminder, hey, this is where you are right now. And yeah, that's what's up with me, like really being grounded and just being. Whether that's emotional, that's still just being.